Hi everyone. My name is Tonka, and today I'm going to talk about and present a little bit about the respiratory system, which the main functions are primarily to facilitate the gas exchange in the organism, but also provide the olfaction, acid-base balance within our body, and communication, and many others. But these are the primary ones. So the respiratory system we can see here is general location of the human body is divided into two main parts, and those are the conducting zone, where the air flows inside without any gas exchange, and then the respiratory zone, where actually the gas exchange occurs. So here is the face, and the respiratory system starts with the nose, which is located on the anterior of the face, and the air flows in through the nostrils, which we can see here. They are also called nares, and they are separated by nasal septum here, and each of them has wings, or they are called alanasi. We can see them here. So the nasal septum further consists of vomer bone, which we can see here on the green, and we are still within this area here. I put this bigger picture with the smaller one so we can see better location. Then it consists of the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid bone, which is the orange area, and then the blue area is the septal cartilage. Next part I'm going to talk about are very important paranasal sinuses, which we can see on this picture here. They are air-filled sacs within the bones of our face and skull, and they drain into the nasal cavity through the opening where they drain mucus. And these sinuses help generally to lighten the skull and, of course, produce the mucus and to moisturize the nasal area and the passages, and also they help with enhancing voice and resonance. Sinuses are located, we can see where on our face, and due to their location, they are often infected and can lead to disabilities in life, not disabilities, but impair like daily function and well-being due to sinusitis, which is usually the congestion, facial pain, or headaches. And scientists in their systematic reviews, such as Papadopoulou and others, said that sinuses are one of the most frequently varied in the human body due to their complex three-dimensional structure and many morphological variations, which I think is very important because everybody of us is different. But this is apparently one of the parts of our area and anatomy, which is even more unique for every individual. And like generally speaking, as we can see, we have four main pairs of paranasal sinuses. So the first one situated here, it's called the frontal sinus. And this one is located in the forehead, right above the eyes, as we can see. And generally, it just helps reduce the weight of the skull and help with the resonance of the voice. Then the next are these smaller ones that look like a marshmallow, and they are called ethmoid sinuses, and they are located right between the eyes, and they consist of small air cells and help with warming and humidifying the air. Then we have the deeper ones that look like, I don't know, beans, and they are called sphenoid sinuses. And they are right behind the nasal cavity, and mitosis I'm going to talk a little bit later. And then last one, the biggest ones that are most prone to the infections are called the maxillary sinuses. And they are in the cheekbones, as we can see. So the nasal cavity is inside the nose and is the main passageway when the air enters the respiratory system. And the nasal septum divided into the left and the right sections. And further, we can see here on this image as the air enters the nose, it flows through the nasal concha, which is, this one is called the superior, middle, and inferior. It's like the three folds they are separated into. And their purpose is to purify and humidify the air and also help with the olfaction when we breathe to be able to smell. And the air then further passes into this area here, which are also three areas, superior, middle, and inferior, and it's called mitosis. So the air further progresses this way. We are in this area here, and it progresses down here. And this area here, it's called pharynx. We can see it better here with these three colors. And it's approximately 5 inches tube made of muscles, and is separated into 3 different areas. The first one is nasopharynx, we can see in yellow. Pink one is oropharynx, and the most inferior one is the laryngopharynx, which then later extend to the larynx and is inferior. The larynx is inferior to epiglottis, which is here. And the epiglottis is very important because it moves and rotates when we are eating and swallowing, and closes off the air tube and often the esophagus, which is down here, which is right posterior to larynx. And the epiglottis closes, well, epiglottis moves and opens the esophagus for food to be processed from the mouth further down into the stomach. And epiglottis helps us to prevent from choking when we eat, generally speaking. So the larynx is another area. It's this area here, or if you want to see it better here. This is better view. So larynx is also called voice box, and it's approximately 1.5 inch long chamber, which consists of 9 cartilages and help to make sound and keep food and drinks away from the airways with the epiglottis. And as I mentioned, it consists of 9 cartilages, but the 3 biggest ones are the epiglottic cartilage, which we can see here. Then we have the thyroid cartilage, which we can see here, which is also called or can be felt as a Adam's apple. And then the last one is here and is the cricoid cartilage. So this is the anterior view, but when we look inside the larynx, we can see the vestibular folds, which are here, and they close the larynx during swallowing. Then we can see vocal folds, which are inferiorly located, and they help to make sound through vibration when the air is passing down through the trachea down here. And also when we are making the sound, intrinsic muscles in this area are coordinate to help with the sound and control the pitch and the volume, but also help when we are speaking and breathing with general respiration, as they regulate the opening and closing of the glottis, which is here the space between the vocal cords. So down here is the trachea where the air flows, and the trachea consists of trachea. It can be seen here or here or here. Trachea is a 4.5-inch long tube, which consists generally between 16 to 20 hyaline cartilage, which are shaped as C. We can see it very well here. And then this is a trachealis muscle that helps with the range of wide expansion or constriction when the air goes up and down the trachea, and also when we are swallowing and the food is in the esophagus, which is posteriorly located to the trachea. It helps to shrink and kind of provide space for the expansion of the esophagus with the balls when we swallow. So the trachea here, we can see this part here, branches into the right and the left, where air, as we can see, this right one is more vertical and has deeper, more vertical angle, steeper angle. So the air is more likely to go from trachea to the right lung. And then this main bronchi branches into the secondary, or also called lobar bronchi, which you can see, for example, here or here. And the right lung has a superior, middle, and inferior, the secondary bronchi, because it's bigger and has 3 lobes when you compare it to the left lung, which is a little bit smaller because it creates space for the heart and has only superior and inferior secondary bronchi. So this is the left bronchi, and we can see it here. And then the secondary bronchi branch into the tertiary bronchi, or also called segmental, and we have 10 of those in the right and 8 of those in the left lung. And this tertiary bronchi then branches into the bronchioles, which we can see very well here, and they branches into the respiratory bronchioles. No, they branches into bronchioles, branches into the terminal bronchioles, respiratory bronchioles, and then finally into the alveoli, where actually the gas exchange happens via diffusion in our body. And I would like to talk a little bit more about the alveoli because they are very important for our body, and they are, from the inside, they are covered with a surfactant, which is a substance lipid based, and it serves for protection and prevent from collapsing when we exhale, and also allow gases to pass through because it's based on lipids. As mentioned in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences, surfactant is a very complex in both biochemically and ultrastructurally, and it consists about 90% of lipids, which I already mentioned, which also provide the diffusion of gases. And the lipids are mainly saturated phospholipids, and also it consists about of 10% of proteins. And very interesting and important is that all surfactant components are synthesized, stored, and secreted, and also mostly all is recycled inside the alveoli in the epithelia by the alveolar epithelial type 2 cells, which are the specialized secretory cells within the epithelia of the alveoli. And the last kind of part, the very important part, is the lungs. And I have already mentioned that the right lung is little bit bigger, as we can see, with the 3 lobes than the left one with only 2. And also the right lung is shorter and wider because a lever beneath this pushes diaphragm up into the inferior lobe, as we can see, and the base of the lung with the diaphragmatic surface. And so we have 3 lobes on the right lung, which is the superior, middle, and inferior. Superior is separated from the middle lobe by the horizontal fissure here, and the middle is separated from the inferior lobe by the oblique fissure down here. And on the left side, left lung, we have only the superior and inferior lobe, which are separated by oblique fissure down here. And the lungs, we can see it here on the picture, they have 3 main surfaces, which each of them is covered by pleura, which help reduce the friction when we are breathing, and the lungs are expanding and contracting via the lubrication. So the first surface is called the costal surface, and it's a curved area that faces inside of the rib cage, and it's in direct contact with the intercostal muscles and the ribs. That's why it's named costal surface, because costal stands for the ribs. And this helps to protect the lung and allow also for the expansion and contraction when we are breathing. The second surface is mediastinal surface, is down here, is in between. And this surface is called the mediastinal surface, so it provides the space and it covers the space of the mediastinum, where is the heart, trachea, esophagus, and also major blood vessels. And also this part contains the helium, which is the area where the bronchi, pulmonary arteries, veins, lymphatic vessels, and nerves enter and exit the lungs. It's called helium. And the left lung, as we can see here, there is like the mediastinal surface right here is a cardiac impression, and so it's more concave on the anterior surface because it creates the space for the heart in the cardiac impression. And the last one, the last surface is the diaphragmatic surface, and it's right here. We can see it better here, where the diaphragm is right below the lungs, and it seems like the lungs are sitting on the diaphragm. And this is a concave surface at the base of each lung. This is the base of each lung, and the lungs rest on the diaphragm, and so it's more concave. And in the right lung, we can see that it's even more concave because there is also the liver right below the diaphragm, which presses up through the diaphragm and creating even more concave surface. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.